There was a study done in the 1920s regarding isolation and particularly addiction. Researchers were trying to figure out how are people becoming so addicted to hard drugs like heroin, cocaine, and is there anything that can be done? Or once they start down that path, is it just a spiral? They're addicted and there's no hope, right? So these researchers got together and said, we need to figure out if there's a solution. We need to figure out a way out for people. We need to figure out addictive behaviors in humans and how to solve these problems. So they came up with an experiment, later to be called Rat Park, and I'll explain why. But they put 2 water bottles in an empty cage, like a rat cage. And 1 water bottle was laced with heroin. And 1 water bottle was just plain H2O. And they tried with heroin and cocaine. So heroin water in one. It's a new energy drink I'm going to come out with. Look forward to gas stations near you. Heroin water. Heroin water in one, regular water in the other. And they took a single rat, put him in the cage. And here's what happened every single time. The rat would go to the regular water, drink, go to the heroin water and drink, and they keep going back to the heroin water and not stop until they overdosed. And they said, okay, maybe that rat was problematic. Maybe we need to try with different rats. So they did the experiment several more times. Same thing happened every time. Cage, 2 water bottles, rat goes in, drinks the regular water, drinks patent pending heroin water, and goes into a downward spiral into addiction, hopelessness, and overdoses every time. And the researchers concluded, well, that says it. Once somebody is exposed to hard drugs, there's no hope for them. They spiral out of control. And addiction is a disease and there's no stopping it. Nothing can be done. In 1970, a researcher went back to this study and said, 50 years later, they said, well, okay, you tried your best. It was the 20s, wild time to be alive, okay, but we're gonna try this experiment again because I think you missed something. So they set up the same experiment, 2 water bottles, 1 cage, 1 rat. Same thing happened. Nothing changed in 50 years. The rat still displayed the same addictive tendency, eventually overdosed on the heroin water and died. And they said, let's try this. They set up what they called Rat Park. Giant, which is a horrifying thing to think about, Rat Park. Newest Disneyland attraction, Rat Park. Giant cage, painted the walls to look like a forest, put cardboard boxes and tunnels and comfortable bedding, put multiple rats in there all together so the rats would have friends and things to do and tunnels and bridges and climbing things and hamster wheels and all the stuff. And then instead of just putting 1 rat in the cage, they put multiple rats, 4 or 5 rats in the cage. Same 2 water bottles, heroin water on one side, plain water on the other. You know what happened? The rats went to the regular water, drank, went to the heroin water, drank, and then went on about their business. They didn't become addicted to the heroin water. Why? Because they had tunnels to run through. They had other rats to play with. And in the study, they talk about they had sex with each other in the thing. So when you have all these things to do in this rat park, suddenly the heroin water is a lot less attractive, right? Why? Because I have mama and daddy rat now. We can get down together and we can hang out and we can do stuff. We can have fun. We can play. And we've got activities. We've got comfortable bedding. I don't have to worry about all I have is 2 choices, regular water and heroin water. No, now I have a whole life to live outside of here. This is significant when I began to think about Parks and Rec and what we do for the community because on 2 levels, right? Number 1, we provide Rat Park every day for people. We provide a place for people to go and interact with people in the community. Anyone here at the senior center? I mean, that's Rat Park. That's people coming. Not saying you have a bunch of rats in there. Not saying the seniors are a bunch of rats, but you're creating a place of social connection, of interactive connectedness, a place where people can come and feel like, I don't have to just sit at home and do nothing. I have a place where I can come and connect. And that's going to be said of any of our parks, right? Where during COVID, we saw this, where people had to get out of their house and do something, and they gathered at our parks. Why? Because we're creating a place for people to not have to sit and spiral in whatever they do that takes them to an unhealthy place, but now they can come and interact with other people. And we can put all the rats together and say, hey, you don't have to go into those destructive tendencies. We built you Rat Park. We built you Bonnie Wink. We built you Town Lake. We have creating opportunities in our community. And the second level this applies to us is you as a human being, as a person. Do you have a Rat Park? Is our tendency to go home, shut down, shut the door, get online, go to bed, like go in a quiet room and don't talk to anybody? And I get that. Like after a long, hard day, I just want to stare at the ceiling and not talk to anybody for a minute. But do we habitually live in a place of just shutting down? Or do you have a place you go where you interact with other people? Karaoke nights where you're doing something you like with other people, volunteer groups you get involved with, books that you read, people you do trips with or activities with. You have a community around you, the people that help lift you up and keep you encouraged and keep you engaged. Because chances are, if we just have the cage and the 2 water bottles, that's going to take us to a dark place real quick. But find your own Rat Park. So we're creating Rat Park for other people, and I encourage you to find your own Rat Park